This footage was captured and shared by British cycling coach George Fox, who had been out for a casual ride with a friend in Northamptonshire, United Kingdom. The two were cruising along a calm country road when, without warning, a Suzuki Swift coming from behind lost control on what appeared to be a simple gradual curve. The small car suddenly skidded sideways, tires screeching as it spun across a narrow lane and veered dangerously close to the two cyclists. In a split second, it became clear how little room there was for error. The vehicle slammed into another car traveling behind the riders before careening off the road and crashing into a ditch. Somehow, in the middle of the chaos, twisting metal, flying debris, and the gut punch and near disaster, everyone survived. The cyclists avoided direct impact, the other driver managed to brake in time, and even the occupants of the Suzuki escaped without major injuries. Fox later shared the video as a stark reminder how fast things can go wrong on open roads. What looked like a peaceful countryside ride turned in an instant into a heart-stopping brush with tragedy. The stunning clip comes from Indonesia, where a tourist's disappearance took an eerie turn that left both rescuers and viewers unsettled. According to reports, a young woman visiting a waterfall was swept away by a powerful underwater current and vanished beneath the surface before anyone could reach her. In the days that followed, rescue teams secured the area by boat, on foot, and with drones, but no body was ever found. That alone was strange enough, but what came next turned the search into something that felt almost supernatural. During one of the drone sweeps over the waterfall, footage captured what appeared to be a woman standing in the rushing water. Her figure was faint but distinct. Long hair, white clothing, and movement that seemed oddly calm amid the violent current. What disturbed rescuers most was that no one nearby reacted. The people visible in the footage seemed completely unaware of her presence, as if she were invisible to the naked eye. Only the drone's camera appeared to detect her. When the clip was later shown to the missing woman's family, her parents claimed to recognize her immediately. The posture, the clothes, even the way her hair moved looked just like their daughter. Seconds later, the figure faded behind a rock and vanished completely, leaving nothing but swirling water in her place. Skeptics argue it could be a camera glitch, lighting trick, or optical illusion, but many locals see it differently. In Indonesia, spiritual beliefs around water and spirits are deeply rooted, and some claim the video shows the young woman's soul briefly returning to the place she died. Whether coincidence, illusion, or something beyond explanation, one question lingers over this chilling footage. If no one was in the water that day, then who or what did the drone capture? It was just after 3 p.m. on what should have been a peaceful Saturday afternoon when Bonita Adonis sat in her kitchen watching TV and waiting for her husband to come home from the grocery store. The quiet felt strange. Her house was usually filled with noise, laughter, and conversation, especially with relatives staying over the past few months. But that day, she finally had the place to herself, or at least she thought she did. Moments later, something happened that would erase any sense of calm. Her home security camera captured what at first looked like an ordinary shadow passing through the kitchen. But seconds later, her stove began to tremble, the metal shaking as if struck by an invisible force. Then, shockingly, the heavy appliance lifted slightly off the ground before slamming back into place. Bonita replayed the footage again and again, trying to make sense of it. She knew stoves didn't move on their own, and as she stared at that passing shadow, she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. Her relatives had moved in after the death of Bonita's grandmother, a woman who had taken her last breath inside that very house. Some in the family now believe it was her spirit trying to reach out. Whether it was a comforting sign or something far more sinister, the incident left one chilling question that still lingers. Was this a message from beyond, or a terrifying coincidence caught on camera? If you thought that was scary, wait until you see this next clip. In Sungai Petani, Kedah, Malaysia, an ordinary afternoon turned into a nightmare for one family. On November 12, 2025, a 15-year-old girl returned home from school and noticed something strange. Part of the bathroom ceiling was sagging. Curious, she took a photo and sent it to her mother. At first, her mother thought it was a piece of fabric or insulation, but when she zoomed in, her stomach dropped. Coiled tightly behind the ceiling panel was a massive python, easily several meters long. The family immediately contacted the Malaysian Civil Defense Force, who arrived and carefully removed the snake. The reptile weighed roughly 60 kilograms, its thick body stretching across the ceiling beams. Officers believe it's likely entered through a tree behind the house, possibly drawn by small animals or warmth. While no one was hurt, the discovery left the entire household shaken. Even after the python was removed, the family admitted they couldn't bring themselves to use that bathroom for days. Understandably, few things unsettle a person more than realizing a predator was watching from just above your head. Bears look soft, calm, and almost huggable from a distance. That gentle face and thick fur make people forget what they really are. Massive, powerful predators built for the wild, not for cages. So humans did what humans often do. They built zoos, put these animals behind bars, and called it entertainment. For some bears, it went even further. They weren't just displayed, they were trained like performers, drilled for stunts, reaction shots, and fight scenes in Hollywood productions. One of those bears was Rocky. He belonged to Randy Miller, a well-known trainer who specialized in big predators for movies. Rocky wasn't just another animal in the background. He was the reliable one, the star of the operation, the bear you called when you needed a complex scene done safely. He even wrestled with Will Ferrell in the comedy film Semi-Pro, which gave him a reputation as a go-to bear in the industry. But on April 22, 2008, that carefully built illusion of control fell apart in seconds.
That's great.
Okay. Is he bleeding?
Yes, he is. He's bleeding.
Okay.
During what was supposed to be a routine training session, Rocky and Randy's cousin, 39-year-old Stephen Miller, were rehearsing a controlled wrestling interaction, the kind of thing they had done countless times before, only this time something shifted. Maybe it was stress, maybe Rocky misread a signal, maybe it was simply reacting like a wild animal finally pushed too far. In an instant, Rocky lunged and clamped his jaws around Stephen's neck. His teeth tore into a major artery. The injury was catastrophic. Stephen collapsed almost immediately, and despite frantic attempts to save him, he died from massive blood loss and internal trauma within moments. Rocky was not euthanized afterward. Many experts argued that the bear hadn't attacked out of malice. To them, this wasn't a bad bear. It was a wild predator placed in a human-designed scenario that could never be made truly safe. The incident shook the film world. It led to stricter rules around using wild animals on sets and in training facilities, and it forced a lot of people to ask a hard question. Was any of this ever worth it? Because Rocky never chose this life. He didn't volunteer to live in a cage, perform for cameras, or pretend fight with humans for laughs. Stephen didn't deserve to lose his life inside a training pen built for entertainment. 2 lives were destroyed that day. One ended, the other forever blamed. All for a few seconds of footage and the illusion that wild nature can be controlled. Some call it a freak accident, but when you step back, it looks less like an accident and more like the inevitable result of forcing a wild animal to live a life it was never meant to live. This final clip begins with deceptively simple footage, a woman appearing on camera in an ordinary home, but the story behind the video is one of the most disturbing cases in recent Florida history. In February 2020, Sarah Boone claimed she had been drinking and playing a lighthearted game of hide-and-seek with her boyfriend, Jorge Torres Jr. According to her initial statement, she zipped him inside a suitcase as part of the game, went upstairs and passed out, only to later discover him unresponsive. But once investigators examined Boone's phone, the truth shifted dramatically. A video recovered from her device shows Torres trapped inside the suitcase, panicking, begging her to let him out. Boone can be heard laughing, taunting him, ignoring his pleas. She speaks to him as if it's a joke, while he struggles for air.
Sarah. For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real or ransom. Might want to get video for it extra. Because I got this.
Sarah.
Real or ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you drink on me.
Sarah.
You.
Breathe, Sarah.
Yeah.
The footage turned what she called a tragic accident into something far more sinister, a chilling look into cruelty caught in real time. The recording became a crucial piece of evidence, revealing what truly happened in those final minutes. The case remains one of the most disturbing examples of casual footage exposing a darker, deadly reality. Over on TikTok, a woman named Ashley Lynn shared a video that quickly gained traction, and for good reason. In it, she describes why she's convinced her bedroom is haunted. Ashley had set up a small camera in her room purely for safety reasons. It wasn't something she ever thought much about, until one afternoon when everything changed. While filming a lighthearted video downstairs, Ashley suddenly heard a faint rhythmic noise coming from upstairs. At first, she brushed it off, assuming her pet Coco was just moving around, but the sound grew sharper, deliberate, like someone testing her nerves one knock at a time. When she checked the footage later, her heart sank. The recording showed her closet door moving entirely on its own. It opened, paused, and then closed again, slowly, almost purposefully. Coco, clearly startled, jumped back and stared at the door, ears twitching. Then it happened again. Same movement, same eerie precision. Skeptics were quick to suggest explanations: a loose hinge, a draft, even fishing line. But the smoothness of the movement, paired with Coco's frightened reaction, made it difficult to dismiss. Ashley admitted she barely slept after that night and immediately began looking for a new place to live. Whether or not it was paranormal, the video left thousands uneasy.
Inside on Churchito, he got wiped out by Petgrave.
Ice hockey is fast, loud, and intense. Players slam into the boards, tempers flare, gloves drop, and crowds scream for more. It's part of what makes the sport so addictive to watch, but underneath all that energy is something people don't always think about: the danger built into the equipment itself. Those skates aren't just tools, they're blades, thin, hardened steel, honed sharp enough to cut ice effortlessly, and if things go wrong, human flesh. On December 1st, 2015, two teams in Russia Continental Hockey League were facing off like any other night. The players lined up, the puck dropped, and the game settled into that familiar blur of movement across the ice. Then in just a couple of seconds, everything changed. During what looked like a standard offensive play, forward Ladislav Nagy tried to set up a shot. He shifted his weight, lost his balance, and suddenly his legs shot out from under him. As he slipped, one of his skates whipped up into the air at exactly the wrong angle, at exactly the wrong height. On the other side of that blade was goaltender Vitaly Sitnikov. In a split-second collision that no one could have predicted, Nagy's skate sliced across Sitnikov's neck. The cut was immediate. Sitnikov's hand flew to his throat as dark blood began soaking his jersey. He staggered forward, desperate to reach the bench, each step more unsteady than the last. Within seconds, he collapsed on the ice. Medical staff rushed in, fighting the clot. Players stood frozen, many with their hands over their faces, realizing they weren't just watching an injury. They were watching someone fight for his life right in front of them. By some miracle, the blade missed a major artery by a small margin. Sitnikov needed urgent treatment, stitches, and time away from the game, but he survived. He was one of the lucky ones. Incidents like this are rare, but when they happen, they shine a harsh light on the risks players carry every time they lace up. Because helmets, pads, and gloves protect a lot, but they don't protect everything. One freak fall, one stray skate in a normal shift can turn into a life or death emergency before anyone has time to react. Sitnikov walked away with his life, as you'll see in the next clip. Not everyone gets that second chance. On October 28, 2023, Adam Johnson stepped onto the ice for what should have been another routine game. He was playing for the Nottingham Panthers in a matchup against the Sheffield Steelers. The arena was alive, fans cheering, music blasting, the atmosphere charged with excitement. In the stands, his family and girlfriend watched, ready to enjoy the game like any other. Within minutes, that excitement turned into horror. During a play in the offensive zone, opposing player Matt Petgrave lost his balance in a collision. As he went down, his leg lifted at an unusual angle. In that split second, his skate rose high, much higher than you'd ever expect in a normal fall, and the blade swept across Adam Johnson's neck. The contact was devastating. The skate severed a major artery. Adam grabbed at his neck and tried to skate toward the bench, but he collapsed almost immediately. Blood pooled on the ice as players around him began waving frantically for help. The arena, which had been roaring moments earlier, fell almost completely silent except for shouts from those on the ice. Medical staff rushed out and did everything they could right there on the rink. He was quickly transported to the hospital, but the injury was simply too severe. Adam Johnson passed away shortly after. He was 29 years old. His death shook the hockey community worldwide. Fans, players, and teams across multiple leagues struggled to process what they had seen. This wasn't a hard hit or a rare freak injury that someone could walk away from. It was a fatal cut in the middle of a professional game, in front of cameras and thousands of witnesses. In the aftermath, something changed. Leagues in the UK and beyond moved to require neck protection for players, especially in professional and semi-pro levels. Discussions around safety equipment, rule changes, and mandatory gear became urgent instead of optional. Adam Johnson will always be remembered as more than a player. His name has become tied to a turning point in the sport, a painful, tragic catalyst that finally forced hockey to take a harder look at the risks around exposed necks and razor-sharp blades. A mother named Jacqueline shared a story that still haunts her to this day. On August 13th, 2025, she was upstairs taking a shower when her young daughter, alone in the kitchen, experienced something she can't explain. It had been only 6 weeks since they moved into their new home, and everything had seemed normal until that night.
Blowing off steam. But now, at the casino, she's playing to avenge Paul's death. She lures Victor into a trap, letting him gain his confidence, win a few hands, just to see what his tendencies are. But then she goes for the throat.
Within 4 hours, Sally has cleaned Victor out, winning the entire $100,000 pot.
Frequently, in a poker game like this, because the stakes are so high and emotions are so high, often these disputes are carried away from the poker table. You would become so angry that you would act out violently.
Instead of just leaving the game this time,
Without warning, the calm was shattered by a sudden crash. Moments later, Jacqueline's daughter came running up the stairs, clutching her arm in pain and sobbing that something had touched her. When Jacqueline examined the spot, she found faint but visible marks, as though fingers had pressed into the skin. Alarmed, she checked the home's Ring camera footage. What she saw sent chills down her spine. A bag sitting on the couch shifted slightly, then slid several inches without anyone near it. Seconds later, a small object flew across her room in the exact direction of her daughter. There was no one else inside, no draft, no trick of light. Jacqueline now believes something unseen may live in that house. Whether supernatural or not, the evidence, The movement, the mark, her child's terrified reaction remains unexplainable. It's one thing to hear noises in the dark. It's another to see your own child touched by something you can't see. On February 17th, 2024, Calm Street in Peru turned into a war zone in a single instant. The footage begins like any ordinary surveillance recording. People walking past, cars creeping along, nothing that would make anyone look twice. Then without warning, a blinding flash rips through the frame and the entire scene disappears behind a wall of fire and dust. The shockwave slams into nearby buildings, sending debris outward like shrapnel. Windows blow out, the camera shakes, and for a few seconds all you can see is chaos.
Mira, huevón. Puta. Gas, ¿no?
¡A la mierda, huevón! ¡Ah, la mierda! ¡Tierra! ¡Esta mierda! ¡Tierra, amigos! ¿Cómo? ¡Acá abajo, escóndete, mierda!
Websites that picked up the footage claimed the blast was caused by a gas cylinder, likely from a nearby business or residence where pressurized gas was being stored or used for cooking. It makes sense. When a cylinder fails or leaks in a confined space, all it takes is a spark for the entire area to erupt. A single tank can instantly turn into a bomb. But here's the chilling part. There are no solid details to confirm exactly what happened. No official reports, no detailed news coverage. For an explosion of that size, the silence around it is almost as disturbing as the blast itself. We don't know how many people were injured. We don't know if anyone lost their life. All we have is a raw video, a normal day wiped out in less than a second. It's a brutal reminder how everyday items, something as common as a gas cylinder in a shop or kitchen, can become deadly if they're damaged, mishandled, or poorly maintained. One moment you're walking down the street, the next you're standing in the epicenter of an explosion no one saw coming. Kev was just another backpacker in his 20s, doing what so many travelers dream of, crisscrossing the globe with nothing but a backpack, a rough plan, and a taste for adventure. At this point in his journey, he was in Sri Lanka, soaking in the coastal scenery. He'd rented a scooter, like countless tourists do, and set off along a quiet road flanked by jungle on one side and open space on the other. The afternoon was hot. The sun hung low, turning the sky a hazy gold. The air smelled like sun-baked asphalt, sea salt, and dust stirred up from the road. Kev wasn't speeding. He wasn't weaving recklessly. He was just cruising, helmet on, engine humming, enjoying that feeling of freedom you only get on an open road in a country far from home. Then he saw something that made his brain hit the brakes before his hands did. Just beyond the roadside brush stood an elephant, massive, still, watching. Its size didn't fully register until he realized how small his scooter and his own body really were in comparison. Kev instinctively slowed to a crawl, trying to keep a respectful distance, hoping the animal would simply ignore him. It didn't. Within seconds, the elephant shifted its weight, then turned and charged straight toward him. The calm, peaceful ride vanished. In its place was pure cold fear. Hospitals are no strangers to strange stories, and Mercy General was no exception. Sarah, a night nurse with 3 years on the job, had grown used to the eerie quiet that settles in between midnight and dawn. But nothing prepared her for what she witnessed that October night. A patient had been admitted to room 314 earlier in the evening. An older man with no ID, no visitors, and barely a pulse. He hadn't spoken a word since arrival. His body was failing, his breathing faint. Sarah was making her routine rounds when she noticed something unusual on the room's monitor, a dark shifting shadow gliding across the floor near the bed. At first she thought it was a camera malfunction, but as she watched, the shape began to rise, taking on a faint, misty outline before drifting toward the door. Her instincts told her to record. Moments later, the man's vitals flatlined.
Wow, 操，好吓人！走了，走了，又来了，又回来了。这回在这儿呢，这儿呢，这不啊。
When security reviewed the footage, they were stunned. The figure, a pale human-like form, seemed to lift from the bedside and move away, just as life left his body. Was it a glitch? A a trick of light, or something more, a soul leaving the physical world? For those who saw the footage, the answer remains uncertain. What's clear is that even in places built to heal the living, death sometimes lingers in the halls. It began like so many neighborhood disputes do, with tension, frustration, and words that went too far. 22-year-old Liliane Matias, a mother of 3, lived in Santana de Cataguases, Brazil. According to reports, there had already been bad blood between her and her neighbor, a man named Juliano. Rumors, accusations, and a past disagreement involving their children had turned simple proximity into a simmering feud. On this particular day, things escalated. Feeling unfairly accused and insulted, Juliane decided to record the confrontation on her phone. She wanted proof for her husband, to show him exactly how she was being treated and what was being said. In the video, she can be seen standing in front of Juliano, confronting him, telling her side of the story. Her voice is firm, she's clearly upset, but she isn't backing down. For a little over 2 minutes, it's tense, but still just an argument. Raised voices, insults, accusations thrown back and forth, the kind of scene that happens between angry neighbors all over the world. But somewhere in that exchange, Juliano's anger crossed the line where there was no coming back from.
Do que, Julinho? Fala baixo comigo.
Fala baixo?
Eu tô perguntando o que aconteceu.
Não quero saber porra nenhuma. Entendeu? Você não fica fazendo fofoca dos outros, não.
O que eu falei de você?
Eu tô te avisando.
Não, fala. Fala, Julinho. O que eu falei de você?
Falar?
É. O que você falou que eu tô fazendo fofoca? Não, fala. Eu tô escutando.
É um cara...
Não, fala que eu tô escutando. Eu sempre conversei com você, não sei o que aconteceu.
Nunca conversou.
Até na minha casa você já foi, Julinho?
Já fui. O dia que você desligou o telefone da minha cara e falou assim, não liga pra esse número mais não, que o Gilmar tem mulher e isso é aquilo.
Com você?
Você falou isso comigo.
Com você, Julinho?
Falou comigo lá em Juiz de Fora. Eu lá em Juiz de Fora. Nunca mais liguei pra ele. Nunca mais. Entendeu?
Eu falei isso com você?
Falou. Então,
não lembro disso, não.
Então, tá bem.
Tô lembrada, não. Não, mas você que tem que prestar atenção na hora que você xinga os outros, só.
Você vai pra puta que pariu, rapaz.
Ah, você que me xingou, filho.
Você vai pra puta que pariu. Você duvida? Você vai pra puta
eu tô duvidando de alguma coisa? Eu tô falando que você não tem...
Você vai pra puta que pariu,
Você não
rapaz.
tem direito de me xingar, Julinho.
Você vai pro inferno.
É? De cabeça pra baixo? É, pode deixar que eu vou daqui uns anos. Na hora que você vai primeiro, experimenta. Tá bom? Aí se for bom, você fala que eu desço. Do que você tá me ameaçando? Fala. Fala, cara. Você não é bom pra falar? Você não tinha me ameaçado, me xingar de piranha? Ó, Julinho, eu não tô brincando.
Que pariu, filha da puta.
According to investigators, he grew increasingly enraged by her refusal to back off. In the recording, he eventually lifts his shirt, reaches into his waistband, and pulls out a handgun. Just seconds before the unthinkable happens, Juliane's voice can be heard saying, "No, Juliano, I'm not playing this game. It's a plea, a warning, and a boundary all at once." But by then, his decision seems already made. He aims directly at her face and fires twice. The phone drops, the image spinning away, but the microphone keeps recording. Her screams, the gunshots, the chaos that follows, all of it is captured in sickening detail. A nearby woman rushes in, screaming for help, trying desperately to save her, but the damage is too severe. Juliane is rushed to the hospital, but she never regains consciousness. She's pronounced dead shortly afterward. Juliano flees, but police later locate and arrest him. They recover a .38 caliber handgun and ammunition believed to have been used in the shooting. What started as a heated but non-lethal argument over personal issues turned into a brutal recorded execution in broad daylight. It's chilling to realize how quickly things can go from just words to irreversible violence. Ethan loved his job at the local sneaker shop. The pace, the customers, the thrill of seeing new releases up close, it all made the long hours worth it. Most nights after closing, he stayed late to tidy up the displays, but one evening as he leaned against the counter scrolling through his phone, something strange flickered on the security monitor. At first it was subtle, just a small shift on one of the top shelves. Then suddenly, a sneaker tipped forward and crashed to the floor. The sound was loud enough to echo through the empty store. Ethan froze. Convinced someone had snuck in, he darted into the back room to grab a flashlight. But when he returned, there was no one there. He placed the shoe back, trying to shake the unease. The next morning, that feeling came rushing back. Sitting perfectly centered in the middle of the floor was a single croc, one that hadn't been there the night before. Confused, he reviewed the security footage. What he saw made his stomach drop. The sneaker hadn't just fallen. It had slid off the shelf by itself, as if pushed. The frame showed no people, no movement, just that shoe shifting across the wood before toppling. Ethan reported it to his manager, but no explanation ever surfaced. Whatever happened in that shop that night remains one of those strange, unspoken mysteries, one that makes even the most skeptical person glance twice at the shadows after closing. This next clip comes from Japan and was captured live in real time while thousands of people watched. The streamer, known online as Shiori Japan 1, was broadcasting from home on January 1st, 2024. It was supposed to be a relaxed New Year's Day stream. Casual chat, light conversation, nothing serious. Then mid-sentence her expression changes. The room begins to sway. Objects rattle, and you can hear the fear in her voice as she realizes what's happening.
That's a big one.
Earthquake. Earthquake.
Oh my god, it's big. I gotta go outside.
Earthquake.
Within seconds, her phone starts blaring an emergency alert. In Japan, these early warning systems are designed to detect major quakes and send out a notification before the strongest shaking hits. But here, Shiori already feels the movement before the alarm even finishes screaming earthquake. She doesn't hesitate. She bolts from the room, instinct taking over as the shaking intensifies around her. Furniture trembles. The camera wobbles. You can practically feel the building move through the screen. This was the powerful New Year's Day earthquake that struck Japan. Measured at magnitude 7.5, the damage was widespread. Buildings collapsed. Roads cracked open and entire coastal areas were torn apart. At least 426 people lost their lives, and countless others were injured or displaced. Watching Shiori's footage, you're seeing not just a streamer reacting to a disaster, but a real-time snapshot of how fast things can turn from normal to life-threatening. Skydiving is one of those activities where people either dream about or swear they'll never try. For some, the idea of stepping out of a plane thousands of meters in the air is the ultimate rush. For others, it's their personal definition of a nightmare. But nearly everyone shares the same quiet thought: if I ever do it, the parachute had better open. Most of the time it does. Thousands of jumps happen safely every year. People land, laugh, hug their friends, and walk away buzzing with adrenaline. In one part of this montage, you see exactly that. A group skydive that goes badly wrong for a moment, with tangled lines and panic in the air. But somehow, everyone manages to regain control. They hit the ground hard, shaken and stunned, but alive. Then there are the jumps where luck runs out. In the next clip, a solo skydiver plummets toward the earth from hundreds of meters up. As the video rolls, you can hear the crowd on the ground realize something is wrong. The main parachute doesn't appear above him when it should. Seconds tick by. People begin shouting, urging him, almost begging him to deploy his reserve chute. But from the way he falls, you can tell something is badly off. He's dropping too fast. The distance between him and the ground shrinking at a terrifying rate. The reserve either fails to deploy properly or doesn't deploy in time. There's a point in the footage where it's clear. Whatever happens now, there isn't enough sky left to correct it. Spectators scream. Some can't even watch. Others stand frozen, unable to look away. Moments later, he hits the ground. The silence that follows is almost as loud as the screams that came before it. You know, just from the reaction of those nearby, what the likely outcome is. Extreme sports live on this edge. They push human limits, test equipment, and rely heavily on meticulous preparation and split-second timing. When everything works, the experience is life-changing in the best possible way. When something critical fails, there is often no second chance. It's a harsh reminder that gravity doesn't negotiate, and that sometimes, even with training, gear, and safety protocols, all it takes is one malfunction for an ordinary jump to turn into a tragedy. There are hospitals that save lives, and then there are the ones people whisper about long after the lights go out. This was one of the latter. For years, staff at the old city hospital spoke of phantom footsteps and vanishing figures. Some claimed they saw shadows standing at the foot of empty beds. Others quit after hearing voices calling their names when no one was there. The building itself didn't help. Its narrow hallways, dim lighting, and decaying walls gave it the kind of presence that clung to anyone who entered. One nurse, determined to stay grounded in reality, dismissed every rumor. That changed during a routine midday round.
Estaba haciendo en vivo aquí en el asilo de ancianos y se estaban escuchando muchos ruidos. Y mucha gente, cuando me acercaba a la silla de ruedas, notaba que algo se miraba, algo se escuchaba. Vamos a ver la silla de ruedas. No mames. ¿Viste eso? Cuando estaba haciéndole en vivo y yo me acercaba aquí a la silla de ruedas, se cortaba, se escuchaba mucho interferencia, se escuchaban voces. Vean esto, vean. No sé si miraste cómo se movió. Cuando estaba haciéndole en vivo y yo me acercaba aquí, se cortaba. Se escuchaban demasiadas voces. A mí no me gustan las sillas de ruedas porque yo sé que ahí hay mucha energía. No hay nadie en el pasillo. Escucha. Escucharon pasos para allá. Ay. ¿Escuchan? Escucha que cerraron la puerta. No sé si escucharon la puerta. Pero aquí siempre hay actividad. Es la primera vez que veo una silla de ruedas aquí. Ponme un comentario si lograste mirar cómo se movió la silla de ruedas. Si es que viste.
She glanced at the security feed and froze. At the far end of a hallway, a wheelchair sat perfectly still until it began to move. Slowly, steadily, it rolled backward on its own, stopping in the exact center of the corridor. Then came the sound, a low, hollow echo that grew louder, followed by a door slamming shut at the far end. The nurse called out, but no one answered. She checked the hallway herself. Empty. That was the last shift she ever worked there. Some places carried too much of the past, and in that hospital, it seemed the dead were ready to leave. On April 29, 2025, a tourist in the Philippines learned the hard way that animals in captivity are still very much alive, aware, and dangerous. He was visiting a park and spotted what he thought was a crocodile statue behind a fence, just another attraction designed for photos. Instead of keeping his distance, he decided to climb over the barrier. It wasn't a statue.
Gilak na niya imong paagang. Agoy, Ginoo ko, Lay! Maluoy ka, Lay! Lay! Lay, maluoy ka taon, Lay! Ayaw taon, Lay! Langgang, ano ning sulod man ka dya, langga? Kabalo man dyan ka nga buaya na dyagang. Langga, buwa. Loy, maluoy mo. Maluoy ka. Lay, dyalag ko dyan, Lay! Ayaw na siya dadag-asa, Lay! Lay, ayaw na siya baliin, Lay! Maluoy ka, Lay! Butaan mo na siya, Lay! Langga, ayaw na siya ikapa, Langga! Langga, ayaw langgang! Ayaw lang lihok, gang! Agoy, Ginoo ko, Lord! Jesus! Lay, maluoy ka, Lay! Diyos, Lay! Lay, ayaw sa tarong ka na, Lay! Diyos ko! Please lang! Kitabang mo tawon! Kung saan may nakaunin mo dong misulod man kaya dong kabalo mo ka na ibuaya siya dong! Ayaw lang siya, huy, dong! Maluoy ka, dong! Dong, ayaw sa huy, dong! Ayaw sa kona, dong! Maluoy ka!
In a flash, the crocodile lunged. Its jaw slammed shut around his leg with terrifying force. He went down instantly, screaming and struggling as the reptile held on. A human being has almost no chance of overpowering a crocodile in that position. Their bite strength, their grip, their instincts, they're built for this. According to reports, the man remained trapped in agony for nearly 30 minutes while staff raced to save him. That's half an hour of intense pain, fear, and the very real possibility that he might not leave that enclosure alive. Eventually, workers managed to free him and rush him for treatment. He ended up needing more than 50 stitches in his leg and arm. It could have been much worse. Limbs are often lost in attacks like this. Lives too. He survived, but lucky is a complicated word when you've just been mauled for a photo you never should have tried to take. Both this attack and the earlier lake encounter have something in common. They highlight how easily people forget what crocodiles are. These animals aren't background decorations. They aren't theme park rides or selfie props. They're ancient predators with instincts honed over millions of years. They don't belong in cages for our entertainment, and they definitely don't exist so someone can climb a fence for a risky picture. When we ignore those realities, it's not just disrespectful to the animal, it's dangerous for us. And in situations like this, it's usually the human who pays the price, while the crocodile is blamed, relocated, or even killed for doing what it was built to do. It was a calm night when a father awoke to a sound that made his stomach tighten, the faint cry of a baby echoing through the dark. At first, it sounded routine, the kind of half-asleep noise parents grow used to, but something about it felt wrong. The tone wasn't right. It sounded distant, as if coming from somewhere it shouldn't, not from the nursery, but from the yard outside. Uneasy, he got up and peered through the upstairs window, scanning the stillness below. Nothing moved. The air felt heavy, the silence unnatural. He told himself he was overreacting, yet the unease only deepened. He made his way downstairs, each step creaking under his weight.
Son las 3 de la mañana. Se están escuchando sonidos en la parte trasera. Oye, Ceci, hay algo allá abajo, ¿eh? Hay algo allá abajo. Sí. No, voy a ver. Está en el patio, güey. Déjame, voy a checar. No mames.
As he entered the living room, a small pink toy rolled slowly across the floor, untouched, deliberate. The faint rattle of its plastic wheels filled the silence. The father froze, staring, every instinct screaming that he wasn't alone. Then, from the garage window, a pale head appeared. It peeked out from behind the frame, motionless, human-shaped, but wrong in every proportion. Its slow, intentional movements made his chest tighten with dread. Whatever had come near his home that night wasn't wind, wasn't imagination. It was something aware of him, and it wanted to be seen. The next video jumps to Hannibal, Missouri in June 2019 during what should have been a joyful hot air balloon festival. Families gathered on an open field, phones out, watching colorful balloons drift lazily against the sky. Events like this are designed to be peaceful, almost dreamlike. Bright fabric against blue skies, burners roaring, baskets rising and falling with calm precision. But this time, something went very wrong. In the footage, you see one balloon descending toward the ground, but instead of landing in a clear open spot, it drifts off course. The balloon basket starts coming down far too close to where the crowd is gathered. In a matter of seconds, it's no longer a controlled descent. People begin shouting. The balloon sinks directly into the spectators, and the heavy basket slams into several individuals, knocking them backward like bowling pins. One witness later told reporters the balloon ran over his mother, a phrase that instantly paints a terrifying picture. Somehow, despite the force and confusion, she survived, and no serious injuries were reported. It's almost unbelievable given what's seen on camera. A heavy basket driven by shifting winds dragging through a crowd that has nowhere to go. Hot air balloons look gentle in the sky, but there's nothing gentle about hundreds of pounds of wicker, metal, and human weight dropping into a packed group of people. Pilots rely on weather, wind direction, and experience. Yet even with all of that, a sudden gust can push a balloon off its intended path with very little warning. On that day, what was supposed to be a calm, family-friendly spectacle turned into a near disaster. The video opens on what looks like a postcard brought to life, an untouched stretch of frigid coastline, wrapped in silence except for distant crackling ice. As the camera continues filming, a massive vertical section of the glacier shears away without warning. The colossal wall of ice snaps, tilts, and then collapses into the water with a force that looks unreal at this distance. The impact sends a monstrous surge, rolling outward, violently shoving the ocean up toward the shore. Within seconds, the water swells into a fast-moving wave that races toward the bystanders. Their reaction is instant, pure survival. You can see people drop everything and sprint for higher ground as the wave expands across the rocks, covering the area where they had been standing just moments earlier. It's a shocking reminder that glacier fronts aren't just beautiful, they're unpredictable, unstable masses of ancient ice that can turn deadly without hesitation. Thankfully, despite the terrifying force of the wave, no one was injured, but the footage makes it clear how quickly a peaceful moment near a glacier can turn into a life-threatening situation. The next clip appears simple at first. Two men standing in front of a damaged building, tossing stones at its walls. It looks like some kind of demonstration, maybe a test, maybe a stunt, but when you remember where and when this was filmed, the context suddenly becomes chilling. The footage reportedly comes from Turkey in 2023, after the catastrophic 7.8 magnitude earthquake that struck both Turkey and Syria in February of that year.
Yaklaşma. Yaklaşma, çık ortaya.
In the video, the building in front of the men is already cracked and leaning from the quake. They begin throwing rocks at the structure, almost to prove a point. With each impact, dust puffs out and fractures spread. Then with shockingly little effort, the entire structure gives way. The building crumbles in on itself, collapsing like a house of cards after just a few well-aimed hits. It's haunting to realize that something people trusted with their lives, 4 walls and a roof, could be pushed over that easily. The clip doesn't just show a collapsing building, it shows how fragile everything really was long before the earthquake hit. Those cracks started years earlier, in construction offices, by cutting corners and choosing profit over safety. Watching the ruins fall from a few thrown stones drives home a brutal truth. In some places, disasters don't just happen because of nature. They happen because of decisions made by people who never imagined their shortcuts would be exposed so clearly or so tragically. When TikTok user Magnus Mattsson moved into his new home, he expected a clean slate, not a haunting. But before long, he began noticing strange disturbances, lights flickering, small objects shifting in the corners of rooms, glowing orbs gliding silently across the walls, captured in brief, eerie flashes by his phone camera. At first, he thought exhaustion was playing tricks on him, but the disturbances grew nightly, impossible to ignore.
This is still haunted. After a long time, something finally happened. It really scared me this time.
doors squeaked open with no wind, footsteps echoed from hallways he hadn't entered. Desperate to understand, Magnus set up cameras in every major room, hoping to catch proof that he wasn't losing his mind. 2 nights later he did. The footage from his staircase, the same one where he'd heard knocks for weeks, revealed something chilling. Just as the house settled into stillness, a faint thud echoed through the stairwell, followed by a shadow rising along the wall with no visible source. It moved deliberately, almost in rhythm with the knocking. Magnus's breath hitched as he replayed the clip. Whatever haunted the house wasn't satisfied with silence. It wanted him to know it was there. At 11:30, this next clip from China almost looks like the opening shot of a low-budget heist film, except it's entirely real. A thief arrives prepared, and not with high-tech disguises or masks, but with a beach umbrella and a giant white sheet. It sounds ridiculous, almost comedic, but what happens next shows just how effective simplicity can be. The security camera watches as the individual carefully positions the umbrella like a portable shield, tilting it just enough to hide his face without drawing suspicion. The large sheet drapes down his back, blending his silhouette into a shapeless figure that the camera struggled to identify. Moving with surprising confidence, the thief crouches near a sewer access point, the target of this strange operation. According to reports, the man wasn't after money, jewelry, or anything high value. Instead, he was focused solely on cigarettes, roughly $1,000 worth. The umbrella and sheet disguise turns out to be bizarrely effective, shielding him from every angle the cameras rely on to catch thieves. No identification, no arrest, no confrontation. A strange theft pulled off with one of the most low-tech disguises imaginable, all for cigarettes. For this next moment, we go underwater, a place most people assume is the last spot lightning can touch them. The clip shows a group of scuba divers drifting quietly below the surface, surrounded by fish in the muted blue of open water. Everything is calm. Slow bubbles rise. The divers move at an easy pace, completely unaware of what's about to happen above them. Then it hits. A violent flash explodes at the surface nearby, followed almost instantly by a deep, thunder-like roar that you can hear even through the water in the camera. The divers jerk in shock, head snapping toward the source. For a moment, you can feel their panic. They're trapped beneath a storm they'd never expected, with no quick way to get out. Lightning striking water is terrifying for good reason. When it hits, the energy spreads out across the surface before it dissipates, but that doesn't mean it's harmless. The closer you are to the strike point, the higher the risk. A strong jolt can stun, disorient, or injure anyone too close, especially if they're near the surface or holding on to metal gear. In this case, the divers were lucky. They were shaken up, rattled by the deafening sound and sudden flash, but they survived and were able to swim away. Still, you can see their frantic movements that the realization hit hard. They had no control over what just happened. One moment they're admiring fish, the next they've become unwilling participants in a storm they didn't even know had rolled in. 2 friends sat side by side gaming at 5 a.m., laughing through exhaustion, when a faint noise came from the kitchen. They brushed it off, maybe a family member up for a snack, but the sound grew sharper, louder. Then the refrigerator door creaked open on its own.
Oh, hijo, dale. Hacer la bola, no va la bola. Dale. ¿Qué haces? Fíjate, está una niñita por ahí. ¿Qué va? Anda a cerrar. Ya, exacto, era. Iba a cerrar tu imbécil.
One of them stood up to close it, still half convinced it was coincidence. As he turned back toward his chair, it scraped across the floor by itself, dragging several inches before stopping dead. The room went silent. Neither spoke. The tension was suffocating, a shared moment of disbelief they couldn't explain. Their expressions said everything. Whatever had entered that room didn't belong there. This incident began when officers were called to McDonald's after reports of 6 unruly customers yelling at an employee and refusing to leave. When police arrived, tensions were already running high. Officers first spoke with a manager on duty, who confirmed that the group had caused a disturbance inside the restaurant, shouting, going behind the counter, and refusing multiple requests to leave. The manager wanted them trespassed from the property.
They still in here.
Okay.
So they,
all right. They went behind the counter?
Because they were yelling and screaming.
You want them trespassed?
They are.
Are you the manager?
Departing manager. That's
I'm on shift right now. I'm the
okay.
manager.
I'll just need somebody's ID, okay?
What happened?
I don't know. I was trying to get some food.
Okay. Where's everybody else at?
Wrong car.
You sure?
Positive.
They said a female in an orange shirt.
Well, go check in there and see if it's another female in an orange shirt in the car. Wrong car. Why are you walking up on
Ma'am,
us?
it's a lot going on.
Is there a reason you're being hostile toward me?
I'm not hostile. I'm sitting down. What are you talking about, hostile? This is me.
What happened inside the McDonald's?
Ma'am.
Yeah, what I just told you. Shut the f*** up.
Hey, be quiet.
Don't give a fuck.
Whoa.
He's tripping.
Yeah, whoa. Yeah. I control my women. Yeah. You whoa.
How old are you?
Whoa, don't worry.
Are you an adult?
Wrong question. Are you an adult?
Ma'am.
Are you an adult?
Can I talk to you?
Okay,
don't
then.
yell at me.
Look, I'm not yelling. I can do whatever I want to do. Don't tell me what to do. You're not my mama, nor my daddy. Get your ugly ass away from me.
Police then made contact with several individuals in the parking lot, including one man wearing an orange shirt who matched the description given by staff. While most of the group was agitated, one particular individual quickly drew the officer's attention for his hostile behavior and profanity-laced outbursts.
What's his problem?
He's bipolar.
I can tell.
Okay, please don't listen to him right now.
Well, hang on.
Okay.
Come on over here and talk to me.
Of course.
Okay, so which one was you were reclining behind the counter?
Okay, nobody was behind the counter. I'm gonna tell you my story.
What you talking about? I need you to talk to me. I didn't do it.
You got your ID?
Right there, and we're gonna talk to everybody individually.
As officers tried to calmly ask for IDs and separate everyone to get statements, the man repeatedly shouted, cursed, and argued, ignoring all verbal commands. He was warned multiple times to calm down and step aside, but he continued to interfere with the investigation and challenged the officers verbally.
Okay, but they want you guys trespassed, so I need your guys' IDs.
You still not understand? You trying to? Can you just understand what I'm saying, sir? I was not involved with anything. Okay. Something just happened. She just kicked me out for no reason. The other guy in there that works there, a manager, he just said I can order my food. Everything was cool. She was in there. You feel me? Everything was cool, and now she just out of a sudden.
So then why are they kicking you guys out if you weren't involved? Are you with this car?
Exactly. This is my car,
okay.
But I'm not involved. I didn't do nothing. I didn't say nothing at all. You can check the camera. I didn't say nothing. I wasn't in there when nothing happened. When something happened, I walked inside. Something was going on. I didn't know nothing. I didn't say nothing. I walked back out here, and then I came back inside. That's it. I didn't say nothing to nobody. I didn't do nothing.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying.
Were you in there? Do you know what happened? What happened?
Really ain't nothing happened.
Okay.
So what's the ain't real with you?
Yeah, be real with me. What happened inside? Why did we get called out here?
Because
I'm gonna go to my car.
When officers attempted to trespass the group, the situation escalated further. The man refused to provide identification, insulted the officers, and ignored clear instructions to back away.
You can't tell me what to grab my hoe.
I certainly
can't. I told you away from the door. And now you see me still grab my hoe. What?
Grab your what?
Oh, okay. Fuck you talking about? You heard me.
No, I did.
You heard me. That's why you laughed. What? I'm leaving right now. I'm leaving right now, yo ugly.
That's fine.
I'm leaving right now. You see me get in the car. Stop talking to me.
Leave.
Twin, come on so we can slide.
Sir, I didn't do all them 40. I was just ordering.
Twin, come on so we can slide, fam.
No, I hear you, but you're doing too much, fam.
Let's just slide.
Let's just slide, but you're not driving.
You don't hear the cracker? Say if you don't leave, you're going to jail. What the fuck you say? Man, alright, I'm finna walk off. I'm finna walk home.
Copy.
I'm finna walk home because you stick here like a bitch. Like, fuck you talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Whole ass. Open the door. Open the door. Hey, open the door. I'm going. I'm finna keep letting you talk.
Who's driving home?
I'm driving. This is my vehicle.
You have your ID on you?
Huh?
You have your ID on you?
No, I don't have my ID. Bro, okay, let him. Bro, okay, fam. Okay. I'm not worried about. I'm not trying to do all that extra shit. I'm not on that, fam. You wear that shit every day.
Hey, and you're going to jail.
I won't go to jail.
Good night.
Get your broke out of here.
Keep going. He trying to talk shit. Just leave him alone. He trying to boot you up. Just leave him alone, bro.
Do you have an ID on you?
Huh?
Do you have your ID on you, sir? Okay, so you can't drive. You know ID.
I can't drive, sir. I just got my shit.
So you have a driver's license?
Huh?
You have a driver's license?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we get your name real quick?
Yeah,
Okay. As soon as we can get you guys information,
you know his name? I just know. I don't know his name.
Write down your name there, bro.
Yes, sir. Okay.
No, hold on, because I really want to.
I don't know. We haven't gotten his 43. I don't think he gave it to me. Step was talking to him. He's being a complete dick.
Okay, calm.
Shaquille, bro. What's your middle name?
And he's already been trespassed first step, so he's going to jail.
Tell me
No,
his
I
last
know,
name.
but he's bipolar for
Rachel,
real.
look at me. What's his last name?
Look, sir.
We need
ask
to-
him
we
what
need
his
to-
last name is. Okay, don't ask.
He's
me.
not talking to me.
Come here.
256, confirming you already trespassed him, correct?
As officers moved in to detain him, he continued to resist commands, prompting them to place him under arrest.
Hands on the back. Put your hands on the back. Get around. What am I doing, Sam? What am I doing? Got it? You know what the f they gotta do if y'all would have my bitch coat with me? I wouldn't be right here on the floor. Shut the f up.
And after being handcuffed, the suspect continued shouting profanities, calling officers names and making verbal threats as he was escorted to the patrol car.
He hasn't been resisting anything. He hasn't been under arrest for anything. What are y'all putting him under arrest for?
We told him that he was trespassing on property and delete.
And he got off the
and then he came back onto the property.
He got off the property already.
Dumbass, I wouldn't be in color. Is this phone over there? Man, shut the f up. Oh, I'm already going to jail. Shut your ugly ass up. You won't get no respect from me? You won't get no respect from me? For what? It's freedom of speech. I can say what the f I want to do.
Shut up.
You shut up, ugly ass cracker. You shut up.
Get a haircut.
You shut up, bitch. You get a haircut.
Get a job.
That nasty ass guy. I got a job. Alright. You thought.
You ain't got shit.
According to official records, the suspect was charged with trespassing after warning, disorderly intoxication, and resisting arrest without violence. However, prosecutors later chose to pursue only the trespassing charge. The court ultimately found him guilty on that count, while the other charges, disorderly intoxication and resisting, were dismissed. What started as a minor argument inside a fast food restaurant quickly escalated into a scene of shouting, resistance, and arrest, showing how rapidly a situation can spiral when anger outweighs cooperation. This next video comes from Nepal, home to one of the largest remaining populations of the greater one-horned rhinoceros. These animals are incredible to look at. Huge bodies armored in thick folds of skin, powerful legs, and a horn that instantly marks them as something you don't want to anger. In the clip, a rhino stands in the open, clearly visible, while people nearby watch and record.
What? What?
At first, it seems like they're at a safe distance. Some are filming, others just stare, probably amazed at being so close to such a rare animal. But rhinos are unpredictable, and they can go from calm to charging in an instant. That's exactly what happens here. With almost no warning, the rhino lowers its head and launches forward. People start screaming and running in every direction. The camera shakes wildly as the person filming backs away in panic. There's no solid wall to duck behind, no car to dive into, just open space and a massive rhino barreling toward them. You can hear the thudding of its feet. Feel the chaos as everyone scrambles to avoid the path of an animal that could easily flip a vehicle, let alone a human. We've seen clips of people being charged by tigers, elephants, and other wild animals, but this one hits differently because there's nowhere safe inside. No fences, no viewing platform, just raw nature colliding with human curiosity. The shaky footage, instead of making things unclear, actually amplifies the fear. You get a very real sense of just how big, fast, and dangerous these animals are when they decide you're too close. For one man in Mexico, the haunting didn't come from within. It came knocking. Every night at 3 a.m., sharp and deliberate, someone rapped at his front door. Each time when he opened it, the porch was empty. It started weeks earlier, when he answered once and found an elderly woman standing motionless in the darkness. She didn't speak, didn't move, just stared through him with hollow eyes before turning away. After that night, the knocking never stopped. He set up cameras determined to expose the prank, but what he captured deepened the mystery. The knocks returned, same rhythm, same hour, yet no figure appeared. The camera showed only darkness. Still, he felt a presence just beyond the frame, as if someone or something hovered outside the light's reach. The following night, the sound came from inside. Slow footsteps echoed through his hallway, then came another knock from the other side of the door. When he opened it, a twisted plant root lay across his threshold. Soon after, a black cat began appearing every night at exactly 4 a.m., staring through the window with eerie stillness. He now believes the woman wasn't human. Whether witch or spirit, she left something behind, a curse that hasn't yet gone quiet. On August 8, 2025, Carla set out with her metal detector near an old cemetery, a hobby she had had for years. When the device beeped wildly, she expected coins or scrap. Instead, she unearthed something extraordinary: 2 gold bars buried beside a small weathered box. Inside was a black dress, strange trinkets, and several more pieces of gold. At first, it felt like the discovery of a lifetime, but that night, her excitement turned to fear. The atmosphere inside her home shifted. Lights flickered, objects rattled. When she reviewed her doorbell footage, she saw nothing until the following morning. There, frozen in one frame, was the pale outline of a figure staring directly into the camera. Its face, faintly visible, carried an expression of sorrow or a warning. A few seconds later, it vanished, dissolving behind the wall like smoke. That was the night Carla stopped sleeping easily. Many believe she may have disturbed something meant to stay buried, a spirit tied to the artifacts she unearthed. It's a reminder that some treasures aren't meant to be found, and that the dead may not forgive those who dig too deep. April 16th, 2023, just after midnight, Jacob awoke to the sound of something slamming in another room. He lived alone in an old house he'd inherited, and locked away in that house was one thing he never liked to talk about: a clown doll named Jeffrey. The doll had belonged to his grandmother and terrified him since childhood, so when the noises grew louder, his first thought was that they were coming from that room. As he crept down the hall, his flashlight trembled in his hand.
I just heard banging.
he reached the door, a faint creak echoed behind him. Then came footsteps, slow, heavy, climbing the stairs. His blood ran cold, but when he turned around, no one was there. When he looked back, the door to Jeffrey's room was ajar. Inside, the doll had moved, once facing the wall and now stared directly at the doorway, its painted grin frozen in the dim light. Jacob slammed the door and locked himself in his room until sunrise. Days later, determined to prove what he'd seen, he moved Jeffrey to the basement and set up a camera.
I'm gonna leave him here for now, but I think I'm gonna put a camera here. Jeffrey's still here, so we're gonna see if there's anything I missed.
At first, nothing happened. Then one night, the feed showed a doll's arm twitch, followed by a sudden explosion of light as the bulb overhead shattered. The room went black, and a faint whisper filled the speaker. Jacob left Jeffrey locked away after that. The doll hasn't moved since, or so he says. The next scene comes from a heavy industrial site, the kind of place most people never see up close. At first glance, the machinery in the video looks confusing. A massive vehicle is carrying a glowing, seething mass of molten slag in a front container. Slag is a leftover waste from smelting metal, a mix of silicates and other materials heated to extreme temperatures. It looks like lava, and it's just as dangerous. In the clip, you see the molten slag sitting in the container, radiating intense heat. What you don't see clearly at first is the hidden threat: water. When small amounts of water drip onto molten slag, it flashes into steam instantly, boiling, hissing, and evaporating as soon as it makes contact. That's dangerous enough, but the real horror comes when the situation is reversed. If molten slag is poured onto or over water, the water becomes trapped underneath. As it heats up, it tries to turn into steam, but there's nowhere for that steam to escape. The pressure builds rapidly, and the only way out is to violently push upward through the molten material. That's when things explode. This disturbing footage comes from Ireland, where passengers were left stunned after discovering a woman trapped inside a suitcase stored in the luggage compartment of a CityLink bus. The video begins with someone filming near the parked coach after reportedly hearing muffled cries for help coming from one of the bags below. As the person approaches and unzips the suitcase, a woman emerges, disoriented, pale, and clearly terrified. Shock spreads among those nearby as they realize someone had been confined in the cargo hold with no ventilation and barely any space to move.
Who put you in there? Who put you in there?
Well,
CityLink, the company operating the route, later confirmed that the woman was not an authorized passenger. How she ended up there remains unclear, though some reports suggest she may have tried to stow away in hopes of getting a free ride. However, authorities have not confirmed this theory. Irish police have opened a full investigation, reviewing surveillance footage and interviewing witnesses to determine whether the woman entered the compartment herself or if someone else may have placed her there. While no serious injuries were reported, officials emphasized how dangerous and life-threatening this situation was. The lack of air circulation, confined space, and exposure to engine heat could have easily turned it fatal. The incident serves as a chilling reminder how desperation or poor judgment can lead to unimaginable risks. A woman films what she thinks will be a tranquil scene, her small boat drifting lazily on the open water, the sun dancing across the surface. It's the kind of peaceful moment you capture without expecting anything dramatic. But then she notices something odd. A slow, subtle distortion rolls through the water. A faint bulge pushes up from beneath the surface, moving toward the boat with unnerving precision. She zooms in, confused but curious, and gradually the glare fades. That's when she realizes the truth. A massive great white shark is gliding just beneath their boat, its silhouette growing clearer with every second. The shark moves gracefully, almost silently, its enormous body casting a shadow that dwarfs the vessel floating above it. The woman doesn't scream or panic. She barely moves. She just watches, frozen by the pure size of what's passing beneath her feet. Seeing a creature that powerful, that ancient, and that close, especially while you're sitting in a flimsy boat, is enough to make anyone feel small. In this clip from Southeast Asia, several women ride heavily loaded motorcycles along one of the most unforgiving trails imaginable. The path is barely wider than the bikes themselves, carved into the side of a mountain with nothing but a steep drop on one side and jagged earth on the other. With every meter, the danger becomes more obvious. Sharp turns force them to maneuver mere inches from the cliff edge. Some corners are so tight they're forced to reverse, ease the bike around, reposition, and push forward again, all while balancing large loads strapped to the back of their motorcycles. The trail isn't just narrow, it shifts, it dips, it crumbles. One wrong move could mean sliding straight down the mountainside, but somehow through a mix of precision, experience, and calm under pressure, the women navigate each obstacle. They ride with a level of control and familiarity that shows they've done this countless times before. Even so, watching them inch their way over unstable ground is enough to make your palms sweat. By the time they clear the toughest section, you're left with a new appreciation for the risks people take every day just to travel from one place to another. This footage, captured from a bus's dashcam in Tamil Nadu, India, begins innocently enough, one bus following another on a narrow rural road. But as soon as the driver tries to overtake the slower vehicle in front, the situation turns chaotic. Just as the maneuver begins, the third bus suddenly appears in the right lane, attempting to overtake both buses at the same time, on a road simply not wide enough for such recklessness. With three full-sized buses side by side on a road meant for 1.5, an oncoming car is forced to slam on its brakes to avoid a catastrophic head-on collision. For a moment, it feels like the entire road system might collapse into disaster, but after a tense pause, each bus driver slowly eases off and returns to a safer position. Traffic untangles itself, and the situation resolves without a crash. Still, the footage is wild. It's a perfect example of how in certain parts of the world, traffic rules appear more like suggestions than laws, and how a single bad decision can put dozens of lives at risk in an instant. A man steps out of his front door, expecting nothing more than another ordinary day. The camera catches him pausing, looking ahead, then you see why. Strolling calmly toward him is an elephant, the same elephant viewers of the channel might recognize from previous videos. There's something eerie about how casual the moment is. No zoo gates, no safari truck, just a regular house and a massive wild animal walking down what looks like a neighborhood road, as if it owns the place. The man doesn't scream or bolt inside immediately. Instead, he freezes, taking in the sight, an animal that weighs several tons approaching his home like an uninvited guest. The familiarity of this elephant makes the scene even stranger. This isn't the first time it's been captured wandering near people. It's almost as if it's made a habit of crossing human paths. Slipping between villages and roads that were built on land these animals once roamed freely. To us, it feels like an invasion. To the elephant, it might just be another route through what used to be its territory. There's a thin line between awe and fear in moments like this. On one hand, it's incredible to stand face to face with such a powerful creature. On the other, you're one wrong move away from being in serious danger. Elephants can be gentle, but they can also be unpredictable, especially if startled or stressed. The man's reaction, that mix of caution and disbelief, says it all. Sometimes the scariest encounters aren't staged, and they don't happen on safaris or behind fences. They happen on your own doorstep, when the wild world decides to remind you that it was here long before your front door ever existed. In this clip, a man films the aftermath of a sudden collapse along the historic Bridgewater Canal near Dunham in the UK. The damage is extensive. Large portions of the canal's edge have given way, leaving ruptured earth and rushing water where a stable towpath should be.
This is the canal near the Swan with 2 nicks. Tex, get back. Tex, get back. I think it's a bit fucked. Good quality brick.
Canal systems like this one may seem quiet and peaceful, but they are constantly battling forces that weaken them over time. Erosion slowly eats away at the embankments. Water pressure gradually shifts. The ground beneath the structure settles differently from season to season, and when heavy rainfall or flood conditions hit, the added pressure can overwhelm weakened areas. In this case, it appears that multiple factors combined: aging infrastructure, water saturation, structural fatigue, until finally the embankment gave out completely. Once a breach forms, water does the rest, ripping the canal open like a zipper. Fortunately, authorities confirmed there were no injuries, but repairs will likely take months. The video serves as a sobering reminder that even calm waterways hide powerful forces beneath the surface. New Year's celebrations ended in tragedy when deputies arrived to a quiet suburban home and found 33-year-old Douglas face down on a kitchen floor, bleeding heavily and unresponsive. Minutes earlier, a 911 caller, 32-year-old Chloe, a trainee deputy, told dispatch she had shot her husband with his handgun after an argument turned volatile.
Awake? Sure, something's missing.
No.
He's not awake? Is he breathing?
Doug, wake up.
Where's the weapon at right now?
I don't have a weapon.
What'd you shoot him with?
It was his gun. He was choking me. Doug. 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 It was choking me.
Where'd you shoot him at?
Doug.
What's that? Where'd you...
Come on.
What's your name? What's your name, ma'am?
Hang there. Is your gun secured? Good. Yes, it's secured. It's secured.
Ma'am, can you open the door?
Yes,
She's at the doorway.
I didn't even lock it.
Hey, hold your hands up for me. I'm gonna open the door.
I'm trying to.
All right, well, hold your hands up. I'm gonna open it up.
Okay.
Back away from the door.
Back away a little bit.
Move door.
The bottom doorknob is locked. Open it up. Ma'am, can you get it?
On scene, officers had her step outside, secured her, and moved her away from two agitated dogs while medics rushed in to perform CPR. Despite efforts, Douglas showed no detectable pulse.
Come on here. Come here. Turn around.
We'll talk about it in a minute. You're just being entertained. Who else is in the house?
It's my husband.
Where's he at?
He's in the kitchen.
We're going to the car. We're going this way.
And
Yep.
my dog's inside.
We're going this way. 243. We got 1 to 10.
Can you get my dogs, please?
Yep. No firearms on you?
No.
Chloe's story shifted in fragments. She said Douglas choked her and threatened to kill her, but officers found no visible injuries on her neck or arms. Fresh blood spatter marked a living room wall leading toward the kitchen, suggesting Douglas stayed mobile for a short time after being shot before collapsing. When asked to produce the gun during the argument, Chloe claimed she couldn't recall. She'd been drinking and admitted she called her father immediately after pulling the trigger.
He was threatening you? Where did that take place at? At some point, you were saying he went and got the gun and brought it out. So, at the time that you actually shot him, what was he doing and what were you doing? And he was actually strangling you?
No, he was like, kill you.
And then he was coming at you with his hands up?
Yes.
And then that's when you shot him?
Yeah.
I'll get you to have the seat right there for me.
Good morning.
No, Zach, honestly, I'm so drunk right now, I don't even remember what happened.
Okay.
I know that he said he was going to kill me, and that was about all I remember.
Okay. Let me go grab the deputy real quick.
A crucial perspective came from the Uber driver, who dropped the couple off roughly 20 minutes before the shooting. During the ride, he sensed tension and heard them arguing about infidelity after Chloe referenced cheating.
Give me a rundown of what actually what occurred that night.
Sure. So I open the door, and then they sit behind me.
Okay, and it was both of them.
Correct.
Okay.
Because we do kind of work for tips.
Right.
And so I was cordial. I was like, "Hey guys, how's it going? Great evening. Happy New Year to you." And you could just tell the vibe was not right. So I see that it's out in pace. So I'm like, all right, this is going to be a long ride.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, 45, 50-minute ride. By this time, we'd already said, "Hey, how's it going?" Whatever.
Yeah.
Music was playing, but she stopped, asked a question, and I was like, Raphael, and then she said, what's your thoughts on cheating? And I'm like, wow. Now I just gone through a divorce, so I'm like,
yeah,
I'm going through it. I'm in the middle of it. So to ask that question, it was like, whoa. She was saying that basically she was saying he did it, and
yeah,
he was trying to allude that, he had told her about it, or I've already told you about this, and that's just what he's saying. And I'm trying not to listen, but I'm starting to put two and two together. This is what's going on. So I'm like, oh man, I'm in the middle of something like that.
Yeah.
Detectives also interviewed Chloe's father, who said his daughter had struggled for years, bouncing between ambitions and setbacks. She'd long wanted to be a deputy, but family friction, finances, and injuries derailed training more than once. She'd also grown increasingly suspicious of Douglas, convinced he was romantically involved with the aunt of his biological son.
I have a whole lot of answers. There's not a whole lot I can tell you right now as well.
Is Doug dead or alive?
I can't say.
You can't say if he's dead or alive?
Not right now, no.
Is he in a hospital?
No.
She said, Dad, I need you to come over. Doug and I got in a fight. He started choking me. He got the gun. He got his gun. I thought he was going to kill me, and I shot him.
Okay.
I said, you what? He said, I shot Doug. And I said, okay, I'm on my way. And that was the conversation.
Okay.
So all she told me was, Doug choked me, and we got in a fight. Doug was choking me. I thought he was going to kill me. I'm not sure if his divorce was final at the time. And Chloe, she wanted to be a deputy, a sheriff, deputy sheriff. What she wants to do is what you're doing right now. That's been her goal in life. When she was in high school, she spent more time in the school resource office than anywhere. It wasn't too long after that. Doug wasn't up on it. I wasn't having any part of her being a sheriff because it's a deputy, because it's too many, it's a male-dominated type of environment. He wasn't having any part of that. Didn't like the idea.
According to her father, Chloe spent months combing through texts and bank activity, yet never uncovered definitive proof. Still, the suspicion festered. The night of the shooting, that jealousy appears to have boiled over, mixing with alcohol, resentment, and a spiraling argument. Neighbors and coaches later described Douglas as a youth sports mentor who invested countless hours helping local young ones develop skills and confidence. Rain or shine, news of his death devastated families he'd supported for years. In the aftermath, Chloe was arrested and booked on homicide and a second-degree felony weapons count. As of the latest records referenced in the footage, her bond requests were denied, and trial details were not yet available. 3 young ones now face life without their father, in a community that once knew Douglas from battlefields and weekend practices is left grieving a loss that, by all early indicators, grew from suspicion without proof, accelerated by alcohol, and ended with a single irreversible decision. The clip begins with a seemingly quiet scene at a mountaineering campsite, tents set up in a valley, gear scattered around, climbers relaxing after what was likely a long ascent. Everything feels peaceful until the rumbling begins. The camera swings toward the mountainside, revealing a towering wall of snow collapsing and accelerating downward. Within seconds, the avalanche grows into a roaring white wave, devouring everything in its path as it hurtles toward the camp. The man filming can be heard bracing himself, instinctively ducking as the avalanche slams into the area. Snow explodes into the campsite, engulfing the view and blasting tents with debris and icy wind. The entire landscape is transformed in seconds. Incredibly, no one appears to have been injured, a miracle considering the size and speed of the avalanche. Had the main mass of snow shifted even slightly differently, the entire camp could have been buried. It's a chilling demonstration of the raw and predictable power of mountain terrain. Stay Haunted heads into Baldyboy Forest, one of the UK's most whispered about woodlands, for a night run to a rumored altar site. From the first steps, their plan unravels. Paths marked on offline maps dead end into windthrow and snapped trunks, as if a line of trees fell in a pattern rather than randomly.
Oh, I think we need to get up.
Yeah, let's go up. Let's go up.
Right, which way we're going? Back the way?
Back away so we know which way.
Right, back in the forest again. My light's having a meltdown. I don't understand why it's flashing like that. Because it's fully charged. What? Yeah, all the trees are all broken. My God. It's crazy. Yeah, my thing's died. Here. Fully charged light. And it's dead. What the hell, like? Oh, I don't know what this is doing.
Checking them up where you are.
My torch is dead. Look at this. Fully charged battery, charge of 4 left. And it's dead.
Right. We're here.
Uh-huh.
I want to get to here. So the meat was, we get out here, out this tree line.
Yeah.
And then cut across, there's a big path there along the water, and then over to this building.
Okay.
And investigate that building, and then drew it. Altar's maybe up behind it somewhere. Like further up the pathway.
Yeah.
But see, originally what I had planned was we came in here and walk along this path here.
Mm-hmm.
So walk right along that, straight to that.
Yep.
But me and you
Are we in?
walked in here and
Oh my God.
yeah, walked way in that middle of the forest.
Jesus, that's crazy.
So we need to find that.
Torches that left base camp fully charged fail within minutes. A second light strobes, then dies. They course correct toward a dam and a wall they'd scouted on satellite imagery, only to find the ground plan doesn't match what their compasses and eyes insist is there. Audio turns odd. First, faint laughter that sounds young, then a childlike voice only one of them hears, then both.
The little girl likes you.
Little girl! Have you heard children's voices?
Right here, you know?
Yep, I heard it.
Hello?
Right, everybody, we have now just went in to do an investigation in the pitch black in Ballyboy Forest. We're now hearing stuff. This is crazy. Oh my God, he's seen something moving. There's not many people that can say that they've...
See up there where your torch is?
Yeah.
There's like a shadow or something just walked across and moved.
Shadow?
Yeah, like a shadow figure, like dark figure moved across there. Wait where your torch is now.
Yeah, there. So, we're going to do a bit of an investigation because we just didn't want to leave. Because we couldn't find, obviously, the altar and everything. But we've had some crazy stuff happen already, like I tell you that. And even on the way here, mad stuff's been happening. So, let's do this and get spooky.
I'm going to set some stuff up.
He's just using the torch here to put the equipment out. Like, look at this here, like, see when I turn around. As always, if you don't believe us, that's what I'm seeing right now. Oh my God. The camera's just like, nope. Cap all over there, there's a cap all over there, there's a music box. Oh my God. This is crazy. I'm probably going to have a sit down here.
They set gear anyway. Cap, REM pod, a music box trigger on a patch of churned leaves. More equipment misbehaves. A camera refuses to lock exposure. The viewfinder blackens, though the lens is clean. The music box chimes once after a direct question, then again from a different angle a few minutes later, with no one near the sensor. Something heavy moves just out of reach. One team member swears a dark figure crossed the path, left to right, low and gliding. The forest floor worsens into boggy hollows that suck boots, forcing slow, loud steps, perfect for anything shadowing them. Midway through, they pass a spot they know they've already walked, and now there are small garments, damp, newly hung from a limb they'd scanned with their lights earlier. That's the tipping point. They decide to exfiltrate and immediately lose the sense of direction they'd held all evening. Every route rhymes with the last. Every reference looks duplicated. 2 hours later, road gravel feels like sanctuary. Back at the car, they are subdued. No victory lap, just the admission that the location swallowed their roots, toyed with their kid, answered their prompts, and refused them the altar. Whether that's folklore fulfilling itself or something territorial, the result plays the same. A forest that won't yield to linear plans and punishes anyone who assumes it will. On November 18th, 2025, in Russia's Krasnodar region, a stretch of highway became the scene of a devastating tragedy. Dashcam footage captured the moment a speeding BMW lost control, crossing into oncoming traffic before smashing head-on into a Lada, then ricocheting into a Volkswagen. The impact was catastrophic. Within seconds, both the BMW and the Volkswagen were engulfed in flames, black smoke billowing into the overcast sky. Witnesses rushed to the wreckage, but the fire spread too fast for a meaningful rescue. By the time emergency services arrived, 3 lives had already been lost: the BMW driver and a small family traveling inside the Volkswagen. Investigators pieced together that the BMW had been driving erratically moments before the collision. Some reports suggest it may have been followed by another vehicle, possibly documenting or chasing it. Though this remains unconfirmed, authorities are examining footage frame by frame to determine whether reckless driving, mechanical failure, or an outside factor caused the deadly loss of control. It's another grim reminder that speed, distraction, or even a moment's lapse behind the wheel can turn a highway into a disaster zone. The second clip's exact origin remains uncertain, though it appears to have surfaced on a Filipino social media page. Whether it was recorded, the behavior caught on camera highlights a dangerous trend: people getting dangerously close to accidents or hazardous scenes just to record a video. The individual filming stands mere feet from an unfolding emergency, risking serious injury for the sake of a viral clip. This kind of recklessness not only puts the recorder in harm's way, but also distracts rescuers and first responders trying to manage the situation. It's an all too common theme today: the need to capture danger instead of escaping it. And sometimes, that single choice to stand and film becomes a difference between walking away safely or becoming part of the next headline. In early morning light at Kaohsiung Airport in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, what began as a routine landing quickly turned catastrophic. On November 17, 2025, an Embraer ERJ-145 carrying the nation's Minister of Mines and his delegation attempted to touch down, but something went terribly wrong. The twin-engine aircraft with 29 people on board overshot the safe landing zone due to the resurfacing work. Over 3,200 feet of the runway had been temporarily closed, leaving a shortened and treacherous stretch for pilots to work with. The jet came in low and early, striking before the runway threshold. Both main landing gears collapsed instantly, sending the plane skidding out of control. It tore across the tarmac, metal grinding against asphalt, before veering violently off to the left. Flames erupted from the fuselage seconds after it came to rest. Inside, panic turned to quick action. Passengers and crew scrambled toward emergency exits, guided by thick smoke and the piercing sound of alarms. Miraculously, all 26 passengers and 3 crew escaped without serious injury. Within minutes, fire consumed what was left of the aircraft. The remains were little more than a blackened shell. Investigators are now focused on whether pilot error, unclear runway markings, or inadequate communication led to the near disaster that could easily have claimed dozens of lives. In Gwinnett County, Georgia, officers for the West Precinct Community Response Team were in the middle of a traffic stop when a chain reaction nearly turned deadly. It was late afternoon when 2 passing vehicles collided just feet away from the patrol units, sending a pickup truck spinning toward the officers.
171 radio. Oh my God!
Oh my God! Oh my God! Thank you!
Bodycam footage shows how narrowly they escaped. Seconds before impact, the officers stepped aside to reposition during the stop, unknowingly saving their lives. The truck barreled through the space where they'd just been standing and came to rest in a cloud of dust and debris.
171 radio. Start additional units and a signal for it. This 41 just occurred involving 2 passenger cars in it.
Fortunately, no one is seriously injured. Those inside the vehicle sustained only minor cuts and bruises, while the officers walked away shaken but unharmed. The driver deemed responsible faced multiple citations for following too closely, operating on a suspended license, and using an improper plate cover, a combination that could have ended far worse. It was a sobering moment that underscored how fast everyday duties can shift from routine to life-threatening in an instant. Crocodiles are living relics. They've been around for millions of years, surviving shifts in climate, predators, and landscapes that wipe out entire species. Today, you can find them in rivers, lakes, swamps, and increasingly behind fences in parks and attractions. But no matter where they are kept, one rule never changes. They demand respect. In the first clip, a man goes swimming in what looks like a calm lake. Maybe he's just trying to cool off from the heat. Maybe he thinks it's a safe local spot. What he doesn't seem to fully grasp is that this particular body of water is home to crocodiles. Not just fish, not just birds, apex predators. As he swims, a crocodile appears and begins to close a distance. At first, it almost doesn't look real, the way it cuts through the water so smoothly, but then it speeds up. You can see that terrifying moment when the man finally realizes what's behind him and how little space there is between them.
Esse é o Tarzan, olha lá, ó. Pegou, o jacaré pegou ele. Nossa, pegou o braço dele. Perigo. Machucou o braço aí?
Somehow he manages to escape with his life. He gets away with a few injuries, including a bite to his shoulder, but nothing that ends his story permanently. In a situation like that, a few injuries is a miracle. The most unsettling part isn't just the attack though, it's the reaction of the people on shore, his supposed friends. Instead of dropping the phone and scrambling to help, one of them just keeps filming. The comments under the original clip says it all. His friends were way too calm, have scars, both physical and mental, but he's alive. On a humid morning, 6 Vietnamese prisoners were escorted in a secure transport vehicle for scheduled hearings. Everything appeared normal until 8:53 a.m. Security footage captured what unfolded next. As the prisoners were being unloaded, a woman entered the courthouse grounds pretending to be a relative. She approached calmly, concealing a weapon beneath her clothes. In a single motion, she handed a pistol to one of the prisoners. The man fired a warning shot toward the guards, instantly throwing the compound into panic. Within seconds, another prisoner managed to snag his restraints, and the group made a break for it, bolting toward waiting getaway vehicles that had been strategically positioned outside. The scene was pure chaos, officers diving for cover as the sound of gunfire echoed through the air. Authorities launched an immediate manhunt. One escapee was captured roughly 90 minutes later after his vehicle careened into a pond. The remaining 5, along with a female accomplice, were tackled down before sundown. Though the entire ordeal lasted less than a day, it exposed serious weaknesses in courthouse security and coordination between police units. The brazenness of the escape shocked the country, proved that even inside a courthouse, chaos can ignite in seconds. This clip comes from Kut, located in Russia's Irkutsk region, where a brutal November snowstorm has caused chaos on the roads. In this particular incident, a bus can be seen losing control, sliding across the icy pavement before plowing onto the sidewalk and slamming into a power pole. The impact was violent, and from the footage, it appears that several pedestrians were dangerously close, possibly even struck. As of now, no official reports have confirmed the number of injuries or casualties, but given the force of the crash and the slick conditions, the outcome could easily have been tragic. Local authorities have since issued warnings urging drivers to avoid unnecessary travel as heavy snow and ice continue to blanket the region. This is just one of several recent accidents tied to the storm, a reminder that in harsh winter conditions, even a momentary loss of traction can lead to disaster. These clips come from Louisville, Kentucky, where tragedy struck just moments after takeoff. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, UPS Flight 2976, an MD-11 cargo aircraft bound for Hawaii crashed shortly after leaving the runway. Early reports indicate that the plane's left engine detached during the takeoff roll, triggering an immediate fire on the wing. What followed was chaos. Smoke billowing into the night sky as emergency crews rushed to the scene. Despite their efforts, the governor of Kentucky later confirmed at least 12 fatalities, with 9 others still missing at the time of reporting.
Bro, get the here, like turn around. Bro, no, hold on. I think it's gonna crash, bro. Holy sh. Holy sh. Holy. Damn, they're dead. They are dead, bro.
Authorities also confirmed that 15 people were hospitalized, including 2 in critical condition. The NTSB has since recovered both flight data recorders and deployed a full investigation team to determine what caused the catastrophic engine failure. Officials cautioned that the final report could take 18 to 24 months to complete, as investigators pieced together the complex chain of events that led to the disaster. For now, Louisville mourns a devastating loss, one that serves as a sobering reminder how fragile every flight truly is. Wyatt had always laughed off superstitions until he tried one himself. He'd heard that whistling indoors could summon spirits, and one night, curiosity got the better of him. He set up a camera in his kitchen and began whistling softly.
I'm just sitting here in my living room. We're about to move. We're getting the hell out of here. I'm playing some video games. And like people are saying, oh, how do you know which cabinet's going to open? It's always the same cabinet. Watch. Okay. Over here. Hold on. Watch this. This is going to creep you out. There's nobody in here. You guys, if you don't believe me, there's nobody in here. Seriously. Holy shit. You guys, seriously, you guys have asked for it.
Seconds later, a cabinet door swung open. Thinking it was coincidence, he tried again, louder this time. Another door flew open behind him. He turned to show the camera the empty hallway, but when he came back, every cabinet and drawer in the room stood wide open. The silence was thick. No creaks, no rattles, just eerie stillness. Wyatt became obsessed with finding answers. He spoke to ghost experts, attended church, even reviewed every item in his house for possible attachments. One expert warned him about objects brought from overseas, that sometimes spirits cling to them. Wyatt immediately thought of his foreign coin collection. Days later, the coins spilled violently from their box without anyone near.
So you guys have asked me to check in on this. I told you it'd take me a few days to settle down. I think I pinpointed the cause of this ghost, and I honestly think it's this money. I have this money from all over the world. Australia, Malaysia, Japan, Hong Kong. But anytime I get close to this change here, I feel this. I'm gonna move closer and listen. Ah, dude. Just real quick, this is part of what's in the box that I've been switching out to figure out what's in there. Dude. Oh, right in the tooth. Oh, I'm not playing with this anymore, dude. I mean, it's even back here. I'm not. This stuff's from Dubai, Afghanistan, Iraq, Canada, Mexico.
That night, at exactly 3 a.m., the haunting reached its peak. He woke to scratching in the walls, then the sound of running water. When he opened the bathroom door, a tall, shadowy figure stood there, motionless, barely visible, before fading into nothing.
I keep hearing sounds in my bathroom. I don't know what it is. I haven't whistled, I haven't messed with this thing. Holy crap. No freaking way. Did you see that?
Yes.
Did you see that? It's okay. Okay, you'll say I'm cutting, so I'm gonna go nice and slow here. In there. There's no way somebody slipped out right there. My back's against the wall. There's nothing in the closet. No feet, no nothing. Holy crap. Nope. Not tonight.
The expert eventually performed a cleansing ritual, and the disturbances stopped. The video remains, and viewers still argue whether Wyatt truly proved an old superstition right or created a haunting of his own making. This clip comes from Kayseri, Turkey, where a moment of distraction nearly turned into tragedy. The footage shows a woman walking through a station while wearing headphones, completely unaware of her surroundings. Focused on her music, she steps dangerously close to the edge of the platform, just as an incoming train approaches. Before disaster could strike, a quick-thinking security guard noticed what was happening. In an instant, he rushed forward, grabbing the woman and pulling her back to safety just as the train sped fast. The narrow escape was caught on surveillance cameras and quickly circulated online, prompting local authorities to issue a reminder. Always stay alert in public transportation areas. Even a brief lapse in awareness can have life-threatening consequences. Thanks to the guard's swift reaction, what could have been a fatal accident ended instead as a powerful lesson, one that underscores the importance of staying present and aware, no matter how ordinary the moment. This incident took place on October 5th, 2025 in El Centro, California, after an automated license plate reader flagged a stolen Hyundai Elantra traveling through the city. What started as a routine vehicle alert quickly escalated into a deadly confrontation. At approximately 6:30 p.m., officers from the El Centro Police Department began tracking the stolen car. They eventually located it parked behind a restaurant on the 400 block of East Main Street. Police units quietly surrounded the area, establishing a perimeter before attempting to make contact. But as officers approached from the front of the restaurant, two individuals fled on foot, triggering chaos in the parking lot. Marked patrol vehicles with emergency lights flashing then moved in to block any possible escape route. In that tense moment, the driver of the stolen Elantra suddenly accelerated, steering directly toward officers standing in the driveway. Faced with an immediate threat to their lives, two officers opened fire as the car sped toward them.
Back up, go the other way. No, just leave the car here. Leave the car here. Get out of the fucking car! Get down, bro! Watch out! Watch out! Back up, go the other way. No, just leave the car here. Leave the car here. Get out of the fucking car! Yeah! Watch out! Watch out!
Once the vehicle came to a stop, officers in El Centro Fire paramedics rushed to provide medical aid, but the driver, later confirmed to be a juvenile from the nearby city of Raleigh, was pronounced dead at the scene. Two juvenile passengers who remained in the car were detained and questioned, though authorities later confirmed they would not face charges. The same applied to two additional juveniles found later and interviewed during the investigation. The El Centro Police Department and the Imperial County District Attorney's Office have both launched investigations into the officer-involved shooting, reviewing body cam footage, witness statements, and forensic evidence to determine whether the officer's actions were justified. What began as a data alert from an automated system ended in tragedy. A stolen vehicle, a split-second decision, and a life cut short before it ever had the chance to begin.
Take yours out.
If you think incidences of road rage are awful in the city, watch what happens when two farm guys get into a fight. According to the person filming, a red vehicle nearly ran him off the road while he was carrying a trailer at 35 miles per hour. The older man calmly explained the speed limit and traffic laws to the man even though he approaches the encounter armed.
Hey, the speed limit is 35 on this road, and Sheriff Cook says no passing on the road. There's a lot of kids playing on this road. Would you like your kids run over? I have appointment. I have appointment. Okay, well go get your appointment. Goddamn, put your gun up. I've got you on video.
Credit where it's due, he did put the gun away, but then he brought his whole family into it. And considering he was the one speeding to begin with, it's hard not to think he was just being an a-hole.
2 years out. Hey, my daughter, she's driving out right there. You put the truck in the car. There's no right. Okay, well, that's okay. You need respect. I've got blinkers on the truck. I've got you on video camera with that camera, and I'm going to show it to Sheriff Cook. I've got your license plate, too. I want to talk to you.
Last 3 times,
Yeah, y'all come through here driving 70 miles an hour.
In his mailbox on January 8, 2005, a guy named Martin found a curious parcel. Confused, he brought it inside and opened it to find a single item, a videotape. With no label or message explaining what was inside, he put it in his camera out of curiosity to see what was on it and hit play. To put it mildly, the footage he discovered was startling. It showed a man explaining the violent things he was going to do, how he was going to entice his victims, and the makeshift tools he was going to employ.
Not trained in torture methods, which is what I'm gonna have to make do. I got my drill here. The reason why it's got this padding on it is just to try to silence it a bit because I'm in an apartment. I got gags, socks, I got lots of duct tape. I got a soldering iron, sheets. It's rather crude implements. I think can work wonders, especially if it's used in the right way.
While the content of the video was deeply disturbing, what unsettled Martin Moore even more was recognizing the man speaking, his close friend Ricky Rodriguez. This wasn't some anonymous manifesto from a serial killer. It was a final personal message from someone Martin had known for years. Ricky had grown up trapped inside a cult, abused, manipulated, and broken from the very beginning. Though he had eventually escaped, the trauma never left him. Now he was planning to confront the people who had hurt him. In the hour-long video, he explained everything, what had happened to him, why he couldn't move on, and what he intended to do. He mailed the footage to a few close friends and family, hoping they'd understand his pain and the path he was about to take.
I am making this video, well, for many reasons, I guess. I suppose the main reason is that I want there to be some record of the way I feel, my ideas, just who I was, really.
Ricky's story began on January 25, 1975, when he was born as the first child of Karen Alva Zerbe, a high-ranking member of a cult known as the Children of God. This group cloaked itself in Christian rhetoric to lure in vulnerable young people, often teenagers, only to twist those teachings into something deeply exploitative. Just 2 years after Ricky's birth, he was adopted by the cult's self-proclaimed prophet David Berg, who renamed the group The Family and declared Ricky a divine messenger, giving him a symbolic role within the organization. Outwardly, Ricky was treated like royalty, but behind the scenes, he suffered unimaginable abuse. David not only sanctioned these horrors, he documented them in a grotesque book titled The Story of David Dito, detailing the exploitation Ricky endured as a child. As Ricky grew older, he began to see through the lies and manipulation. In 1999, he and his girlfriend, Alexia Manuel, managed to escape during a supposed trip to one of the cult's compounds in Mexico, instead fleeing to the United States. Adapting to the outside world after 24 years of isolation was a monumental challenge. Still, Ricky pushed forward. He found work as an electrician, married Alicia, and settled in Tucson, Arizona. But the trauma didn't disappear. Though David Berg had died in 1994, the cult remained active under Ricky's own mother, Karen Zerbe. It continued operating mainly overseas, avoiding serious legal consequences, and Ricky knew that children were still being harmed just as he had been. In January 2005, unable to bear the weight of it any longer, Ricky decided to act. He recorded a video message, his final testimony, describing what had happened to him, how the cult had evaded justice, and why he felt compelled to stop it himself. In the video, he spoke not just of exposing the organization, but also seeking personal vengeance for all the years of pain. He sent it to his wife and a few close friends, his final cry for justice, before doing what he believed no one else would.
There's this need that I have. This need, it's not a want, it's a need, and I wish it wasn't, but it is. It's a need for revenge. It's a need for justice. Because I can't go on like this.
In the final video he recorded, Ricky laid out a chilling plan. He had managed to reconnect with Angela Smith, his former nanny, and one of the many adults who had abused him during his childhood in the cult. His idea was to lure her to his apartment in Tucson under the pretense of a friendly dinner and, once there, forced her to reveal the whereabouts and activities of other cult members using any means necessary. And that's exactly what he did. January 8, 2005, after mailing copies of his video to his wife and a few trusted friends, Ricky followed through. He invited Angela into his home and confronted her. While it's unclear how much she revealed, we know the confrontation ended with Ricky taking her life. Afterward, he left Tucson and drove west to Blythe, California, where he checked into a motel. Later that night, he called his wife. He told her everything, what he had done, how it felt, and what he planned to do next. But something in him had changed. Despite the years of torment and the hatred he carried, Ricky admitted that killing Angela was the most difficult thing he'd ever done. It didn't give him the peace or closure he had imagined. Revenge hadn't healed him. It had only deepened his sorrow. He told his wife he couldn't go on with the rest of his plan. He couldn't take another life. The next morning on January 9, authorities found Ricky's car in a parking lot not far from the motel. Inside, they found him dead by suicide. For those who knew him best, the outcome, though heartbreaking, was not entirely unexpected. In his final video, Ricky had confessed that he saw no future for himself beyond this act of vengeance. He believed his pain would only end when the people who destroyed his childhood were gone.
I can imagine how I would feel, how liberating it would be.
But in the end, all he found was more pain. Today, the family cult, despite years of allegations, investigations, and trauma, still operates under the leadership of Ricky's own mother, Karen Zerbe. Ricky's tragic story remains a haunting reminder of the long, devastating shadow cult abuse can cast over a person's life, and the urgent need for accountability that, for him, never came. Afraid of heights? You might want to skip this one. This footage captures the heart-pounding reality of those who scale towering structures to service antennas and transmission lines atop some of the world's tallest buildings. It's not just a job, it's a daily test of courage. The video, shot from the climber's perspective, documents an ascent up a staggering 1,768-foot tower. While there is an elevator that takes workers up to about 1,600 feet, the final 168 feet must be conquered by hand on a vertical ladder with a 30-pound tool bag trailing beneath them. As the climber nears the summit, the protective structure fades away and the ascent becomes even more precarious. From this point on, it's free climbing, just small metal rungs and thousands of feet of open air below. No guardrails, no safety net. It's the kind of climb where one slip, one misstep, or even a sudden gust of wind could mean a fatal fall. And that's exactly what makes this footage so unnerving, because it reminds us just how thin the line is between awe-inspiring and terrifying.
Da nitrogen líquido para 1.000 litros aproximadament de nitrogen gas. Ens retirem això, sisplau. I ara comencem a posar el nitrogen líquid. Endavant. Música, sisplau. Nitrogen líquid. En el laboratori ens agrada molt treballar amb el
The internet is full of science experiments gone wrong, and this one's a perfect example. Captured in Girona, Spain, the video shows a man giving a live demonstration using what looks like liquid nitrogen in front of a small crowd. Everything seems fine at first, even fascinating, until it isn't. He pours the foggy liquid into a large barrel, then places another barrel on top. That's when something goes very wrong. Keep watching. Suddenly, there's a violent explosion. The crowd jumps back in shock as a cloud of smoke engulfs the area. When it finally clears, the demonstrator is on the ground, clearly in agony, writhing from the pain caused by the blast. What was meant to be an engaging science display had instantly turned into a dangerous and chaotic scene. On the morning of October 4th, 2006 at 6:15 a.m., police in Barrie, Ontario received a chilling call. A woman calmly told the dispatcher, "My children are dead." Her flat tone didn't match the gravity of her words. When asked what happened, she simply said, "I don't know. I don't remember." Officers rushed to the apartment. When they arrived, they were met by 31-year-old Frances Elaine Campion. She opened the door with the same eerie calmness. When asked about the children, she replied, "Yes, they are dead. They're on my bed." Inside the bedroom, officers found the bodies of her daughters, 3-year-old Serena and 19-month-old Sophia. Both girls were dressed in clean clothes, wearing small earrings and necklaces, but their skin had turned blue, clear sign they'd been dead for some time. The only visible injury was a faint bruise on Sophia's forehead. There were no signs of struggle, no signs of how they died, but as detectives searched the home, they found a camcorder. The footage gave them the answers they needed. The video started instantly. Elaine surprising Serena with a bike for her birthday on August 8th. It didn't stay innocent for long.
Hi Serena, it's August 8th, 2006. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Serena, happy birthday to you. Serena's 3 today, yay! Shall we go to the living room and see if you got any birthday presents from the birthday fairies?
Yes!
Okay, let's go.
I have to go.
What is it?
It's a bike.
Elaine and her 2 girls were also seen having fun and lounging around in the following video.
It's much.
Oh, I love you more than that.
Everything appeared to be going fairly smoothly up until the 3rd recording, which was made on October 2nd. At that point, things started to become strange, and the tone of the recordings abruptly changed as Elaine began to talk endlessly about their appalling living conditions and the abuse she had endured at the hands of her ex-husband, Leo, and his family in front of her young ones.
You can't see through the camera, boo-boo. Oh, yes, this is a deplorable, horrible, messy, filthy apartment that supposedly my 2 children and I live in, and it's just a horrible, horrible mess. Yeah. I think Diego Campione is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins. The same as Leonardo. All I wanted to do was take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campione, and in the past year from Anna and Diego Campione, the mental and emotional abuse, which wouldn't stop, and I had CAS keep bringing these 2 people into my life over and over again when I kept telling them the amount of mental and emotional abuse it was causing my 3-year-old daughter Serena and I and Sophia. It was horrible and uncalled for, and I want justice to my family for what they have all done to us. I cried out for help. They should have.
Leo was known to be extremely abusive, both physically and emotionally. He cut Elaine off from her parents and, at one point, even kicked her in the stomach while she was pregnant. That assault led to a domestic violence charge and eventually their divorce. But by the time this video was recorded, Leo had started to change. He was now fighting Elaine in court for custody of their daughters. The stress of that battle hit Elaine hard. Her mental health had already been fragile. She'd been hospitalized twice before, and now it was unraveling fast. Her mother later said Elaine had grown deeply paranoid, convinced Leo would come and take the girls from her by force. Then on October 2nd, shortly after stopping the video at 8:39 p.m., Elaine made a devastating decision. She took her daughter's lives. Investigators would later find a recorded confession on the same camera.
Recording this because Leo and I are hanging out. Everything is gone. You wouldn't give peace. You wouldn't tell the truth. I begged. You even had Stacy not believing me, telling her I had to sign papers when I didn't. I went to victim witness to get the truth. Trying, begging everyone the truth. How you beat me for 3 years behind closed doors. Beat me when I was pregnant with Serena and Sophia. You didn't care about our babies. You didn't care about me. You cared about yourself. You wanted to win. You won. Are you happy? How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Because it doesn't make me feel great. I've lost everything my whole life.
So that means the remodeling time at their Aurelia and Braintree stores. They are changing the displays. Now is the time to make a great deal on an Ontario-made hydro-cooled hot tub. In stock models, floor models, or custom orders, everything has a sale price. Pool Spa Sauna Showroom, making waves in Aurelia, Bracebridge, and soon to be in Huntsville. You can also check them out on the web at poolspasaunashowroom.com. I'm here to throw some light on.
Elaine was arrested on the spot, and soon after, she was officially charged with murder. The footage found in her apartment became a key piece of evidence in the case. In the end, she was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 25 years. This video is a clear reminder that what looks impressive on camera can be incredibly dangerous in real life. While the exact setting of the footage isn't clear, what is obvious is the reckless act taking place, someone batting molten metal directly into a crowd. The aftermath, captured in a series of haunting photos, leaves no doubt about how hazardous and irresponsible this stunt truly was. On May 15, 2015, it started out like any other school day in Jefferson County, Kentucky. Outside Wilkerson Elementary, yellow buses lined up just like always, dropping off and picking up kids. But that afternoon ride home turned into something no one in one family would ever forget. Melinda Sanders was behind the wheel that day. Reports later said her view was partially blocked, not just because of the size of the bus, but also by clutter on the dashboard that made it harder to see what was in front of her, especially the kids getting off. One of those kids was 7-year-old Allie Redner. She was just trying to get home like she always did, but this time something went horribly wrong. Watch this.
What are you doing, Devin? Sit down, Devin. Is there somewhere to sit up here? What's going on right here? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Melinda shut the door and drove away, unaware that Allie's backpack was still stuck. That one moment led to something unthinkable. Allie, just 7 years old, was dragged for over 1,300 feet, almost a quarter of a mile as the bus kept moving. Her body scraped against the pavement for nearly a minute. It wasn't until a passerby, someone jogging nearby, noticed and reacted. He pulled his car in front of the bus, forcing it to stop before things got even worse. By then, Allie had suffered serious injuries. Deep wounds on her legs and hips, nerve damage that still affects her, and scars that may never fade. She went through 8 major surgeries, skin grafts, scar revisions, and now lives with constant pain. On top of that came the trauma. She became terrified of school buses. Her childhood was changed forever. The driver, Melinda Sanders, was fired a month later, but for Allie and her family, the damage was already done. They sued the school district, saying the driver wasn't properly trained and the buses lacked key safety features. The case ended in a $4.8 million settlement meant to help cover Allie's recovery and long-term care. After the incident, laws were changed. Buses in Kentucky are now required to have sensors and alerts that warn drivers if a child is near the door. Technology that might have saved Allie from everything she went through. Today, Allie is 17. Instead of letting that day define her, she speaks out. She shares her story to push for better school bus safety so that no other kid has to go through what she did. A school bus isn't just transportation. It's a promise that kids will get home safe. All it takes is one careless moment to break that promise and leave lasting scars. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.